Discover the incredible journey of a 12-year-old's life-changing transformation exposed. In the heart of Morro do Cantagallo, a sun-drenched favela of Rio de Janeiro, lived Davi, a 12-year-old boy with dreams bigger than the slums he called home. In his cramped little house, he felt the warmth of family, a comforting blanket against the chilly winds of scarcity. His mother, a tireless street vendor, filled the streets with the aroma of pastel and caldo de cana, echoing stories of resilience. His father, once a proud carpenter now burdened by an injury, sat in the shadow of despair, a constant reminder of lost hope. Together, they created a small world rich with love but poor in lost dreams. Every weekend, Davi found himself racing to the local soccer field, cracking the ball against the pavement with his friends. They were a ragtag crew who celebrated their every goal with shouts that merged with the rhythm of samba. For Davi, soccer was everything. But a constant weight lay heavy on his heart: contribute to the family's meager income or pursue his passion for soccer like a passionate fire that wouldn't he extinguish? The dilemma twisted inside him like a dark spiral. Then one day, a local scout visited. Hope rippled through the dusty street as whispers of opportunity filled the air. Davi's heart raced. He imagined playing for the big teams, feeling the roar of the crowd. But then, cruel laughter shattered that hope. A rival with an elite upbringing mocked him, calling Davi just a dreamer from the slums. Despair quickly washed over him, feelings of anger and a desperate need for validation clawing at his insides. This deep moment sliced through him, yet, in that vulnerable moment, Davi recalled his mother's warm smile and his father's quiet strength despite his own sadness. Torn between loyalty and aspiration, he realized he could use his pain as fuel. What if, he thought, we could show them that true talent doesn't depend on where you come from? Gathering his friends, they hatched a plan for a community soccer tournament that celebrated unity and grit. Maybe they could flip the narrative, turn the whispers of doubt upside down. As they prepared, murmurs of disdain followed them. Doubts echoed louder. On that day of the tournament, a palpable tension gripped the air. Just when Davi thought he could carry his community's dreams, his phone buzzed with life-changing news: the scout wanted him. The chance of a lifetime. But now, standing at a crossroads, he felt the weight of love and dreams clashing in his chest. He had a decision to make: take the leap and chase a future beyond the favela, or stay and lift his community with him. Before continuing, I need to warn you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The moment hung there like a still cloud, suspense coursing through Davi's veins. The crowd surged with excitement, a chorus of anticipation. His friends looked at him, eyes wide, dreams twinkling like stars in a dark sky. Would he abandon them for a chance to escape? Or stand tall for the kids who played in the streets, where everyone knew soccer wasn't just a game, but a lifeline? Davi stood at the precipice, each heartbeat echoing a question: which path would he choose? The sound of the crowd swelled around him, leaving Davi filled with uncertainty, yet brimming with the desire to rise. Davi took a deep breath, the air heavy with the aromas of street food and the excited chatter of friends and families gathered to watch. In that moment, everything narrowed down to one pulsing realization: this was more than just soccer. It represented hope for everyone who felt small, ineffective against a world that wouldn't always listen. His gaze swept across the pitch, where kids less fortunate than him tore at the grass, eyes alight with dreams. The streets of Morro do Cantagallo, where laughter and struggle lived together, stirred something primal within him. This was his home. The thought of leaving, of abandoning this community that had raised him, sent a pang of guilt slicing through his chest. Davi! A familiar voice shouted, breaking through the chaos. It was Sarah, his closest friend, a girl with an infectious spirit and a fierce passion for soccer. Her dark eyes sparkled as she approached. "You've got this. Go for it. You know what you mean to us." Her shout echoed in Davi's mind. It reignited the fire that had dimmed in his heart since the scout's call. Maybe he didn't have to choose between his dreams and his people. Perhaps there was a way to weave both into one journey. That he quickly gathered his friends around him. Their faces reflected hope and worry, longing for direction. "What if," he started, voice quaking with passion, "we turn this tournament into something bigger? A way to show everyone that we can succeed together?" They nodded, anticipation crackling like energy in the air. "But how?" Pedro, his most loyal teammate, asked hesitantly. "We fight every second of this tournament. Show them we can play like champions. And if I get into that academy, I promise to bring back as much help as I can for all of us." A fire ignited among the kids. They formed a huddle, hands stacked on top of one another, voices rising in agreement. For the community. For each other. The chant pulsed through them, a shared heartbeat that was unmistakably their own. Davi felt the strength of their unity. It was the fuel he needed. As the tournament started, the cheers of the crowd surged with every kick, every pass, every saved goal. The air buzzed with excitement. Davi raced up and down the field, fueled by the love for his teammates and dreams of a better life. Each score was met with thunderous applause, a banner of support hanging over each play. But during a pivotal match, a moment of despair struck. A rough tackle sent Davi tumbling to the ground, pain radiating through his ankle. The chorus of encouragement faded as he lay there, the world briefly darkening around him. "No, not now," he thought, panic racing through him. He had to finish this, the community needed him. As he looked up, he saw Sarah running toward him, a determined look on her face. "Get up, Davi. We need you." Her voice sliced through the pain as stubbornness surged within him. With sheer willpower, he gritted his teeth and pushed up off the ground. He could feel the eyes of his community on him, a sea of faith that washed over the hurt as he limped back onto the field. Davi knew he had another decision to make. Could he push through the pain for one last play? Or would he let his fears and injuries win? The clock counted down, the final moments ticking closer. Would he rise to face the challenge or falter? With sweat mingling with hope, Davi took a deep breath, desperate for the answer. What path would he choose now, as all eyes waited for him to make his move? The whistle blew, slicing through Davi's haze of pain and determination. He felt the weight of the world pressing on his shoulders as he limped toward the pitch. Every step was a reminder of his injury, a reminder of the struggle that surrounded him, yet it also brought clarity. The cheers from his community, heartfelt and loud, wrapped around him like a warm embrace. "Let us do this," he shouted, gritting his teeth. The words seemed to echo off the walls of the encircling crowd. His teammates rallied around him, their eyes bright with a mixture of excitement and fear. They trusted him. He couldn't let them down. The game resumed, a whirlwind of movement as the opposing team pushed forward. Davi stood at the sidelines, breathing heavily, his heart pounding loudly in his chest. The fierce instinct to win surged within him. With every ounce of strength, he forced himself onto the field, determined not to be just a spectator in his own life. "Davi!" Sarah yelled, her voice cutting through the clamor as she sprinted past him. She was in the zone, weaving through defenders like she was born to play. Fueled by her light, he settled into his role. He sensed the rhythm of the game, the interdependence of his teammates, and understood what he had to do. When the ball landed at his feet, a surge of adrenaline propelled him forward. His ankle screamed in pain, but Davi pushed through. With sharp precision, he dodged a defender and aimed for the goal. He could hear the collective intake of breath from the crowd, the anticipation palpable. Just as he prepared to shoot, a thud beneath him sent him off balance. He felt it again, the overwhelming urge to give in to the pain, to protect himself. But they all depended on him, waiting with bated breath. The thought anchored him. He could hear bits of encouragement piercing through the noise, phrases that rang true, urging him onward. Keep going. We believe in you. With a jolt, Davi steadied himself. He took one last look at his teammates, their eyes filled with hope, and then he let the ball fly. Time slowed down. It soared through the air in a beautiful arc, seeming to dance as if it too was a part of this community. Then silence. All eyes were glued to the goal as it hit the net. The crowd erupted into cheers, a wave of sound crashing over the pitch. Davi staggered back, overwhelmed by disbelief and elation. He had done it, he had scored. Sarah rushed to his side, enveloping him in a tight hug, jumping with joy. You did it, Davi. You showed them. Yet another wave of emotion washed over him. They won this round, but what did this mean for the next game? Davi's heart raced for a different reason now. He realized victory here was only the beginning of the battle for his future, for his community's future. The scent of fried snacks and the murmur of hopeful conversations filled the air, grounding him back in reality. Tears threatened to spill as he looked around at the faces beaming with pride. But his mind wouldn't let him linger for long. Images of the academy flashed through his thoughts. Could he really balance these two worlds? The final whistle blew, signaling the end of the match, their victory echoing through Morro do Cantagallo. Davi's teammates rushed to him again, but inside, he felt a pull. A whisper of doubt. Would he be enough? Did he have the strength, not only for this tournament but for the future they all dreamt of? And as the crowd carried them on their shoulders in celebration, Davi knew he had to confront that question soon. The academy could never feel like home if he left everything behind. In that moment, another sound cut through the excitement, the scout's voice announcing plans for the next round of appointments. Could Davi handle it all? An exhilarating thrill and heavy dread battled in his heart, leaving him hanging on the brink of what lay ahead. Would he take the leap and step into his dream, or was this just the beginning of a struggle that stretched beyond just soccer? Davi stood among his teammates, feeling the weight of their shared elation. That score had been more than just a goal, it had been a bond, a statement of unity. Yet, as cheers echoed around him, a shadow flickered in his heart. The victory felt like a warm sun on a winter day, beautiful, but fleeting. Vemo, Davi. Mais uma vez. Bruno shouted, pulling him into a group huddle of high-fives and exuberant laughter. The bond they shared was undeniable, but so were the stakes at hand. The celebration swirled around him like confetti, but Davi found himself pulled away, lost in thought. Images of the academy chased him through the tumult. Would he fit in there? Could he really adapt to a life that felt so distant? It was as if he stood at a crossroads, with one path leading back to the known warmth of his community and the other to an uncertain new world filled with challenges and expectations. As he forced himself to smile, Sarah caught his eye. Hey, what's up? You okay? Her voice contrived concern, piercing through the haze of his distraction. Yeah, just thinking about what comes next, he replied, pulling away slightly, feeling vulnerable. I mean, this was amazing, but... She pressed gently, meeting his gaze. Can I really do both? What happens if I want to follow this dream but leave you all behind? Davi's voice shook, revealing the tremor of his hidden fears. Davi, you won today. She exclaimed, her eyes bright. You showed everyone here what you're made of. It's not about choosing one or the other. You can have both. He wanted to believe her. Davi wanted to feel the same certainty that sparked in her voice, but doubt still clung to him, sticky and unyielding. The crowd was chaotic, filled with joyous noise, yet it felt alien, overshadowed by the looming uncertainty of his choices. Amid the clamor, the scout's voice rang out again, announcing future appointments. Davi. Remember, you have the potential. Don't doubt yourself. The words carried a weight of hope and expectation, both burdens and blessings. The sky overhead was beginning to blush with the colors of dusk, a gentle reminder that time was fleeting. Davi's heart began to race, each beat echoing the urgent need to make a decision. As his teammates cheered and celebrated around him, the deeper question loomed larger: would he regret not pursuing the academy, or would he regret choosing it and stepping away from his roots? His community, his family, they were everything to him, yet the dream of something bigger tugged incessantly at the corners of his heart. Just then, a young boy approached, clutching a faded soccer ball with enthusiasm. "Hey, Davi! Will you teach me that shot you just made?" His eyes sparkled with admiration, a mirror reflecting Davi's own passion. For a fleeting moment, that spark filled him with warmth. In mentoring this boy, he could pass on a legacy of dream chasing and resilience. He could empower the next generation while embracing his own aspirations, but as he knelt to take the ball, uncertainty swirled through him once more. Did he even have the strength to carry them both? The gravity of his decision loomed ahead, a throbbing pulse that wouldn't relent. As he smiled at the boy, a thought flickered: what if this was the moment he could carve a path that intertwined both worlds? Would he stand tall when the moment of truth arrived, or would uncertainty keep him shackled? In the depths of celebration, Davi felt a crossroads approaching, a point where he must make a choice that would define not just his journey, but perhaps the journeys of many others. Could he summon the courage to chase his dreams while keeping his community in his heart? The question lingered heavily in the air, waiting to be answered. Davi could feel the weight of the boy's hopeful gaze. "Okay, let us do this," he said, determination threading through his voice. He pushed aside the swirling doubts and focused on what he could do now, in this moment. "First, it's all about your stance. You have to feel the ball," he instructed, demonstrating how to position the feet. The boy mimicked him, eyes wide with concentration. With every shout of encouragement from Davi, the boy's confidence seemed to grow. Each shot taken brought about cheers from Davi's friends, people who once felt like mere spectators but now merged into this little world they created together. The laughter and shouts ignited a flicker of joy deep within him, yet, even as the sun dipped lower, painting the field in golden hues, Davi felt something tugging at his heart, a reminder of the decision looming ahead. Could mentoring this boy be a bridge between both worlds? Suddenly, a sharp voice cut through the warmth of the moment. "Davi! What are you doing wasting time? You should be thinking about your future." It was Carlos, his older cousin, standing with crossed arms, face rigid. Davi's smile faltered as he caught sight of the disapproval etched on Carlos's face. "I'm teaching him something important," he replied defensively, the boy watching the exchange nervously. "Important? You think playing around is going to get you into that academy? Focus, man. They want to see you training, not wasting time with kids." The boy's expression dimmed. Davi looked at him, feeling a prick of guilt. Could he really prioritize both his dreams and the journey of someone who looked up to him? "Carlos, it's not wasting time if it shapes the next generation," Davi shot back, his voice firmer this time. "If I want to inspire, I need to remember my roots." Carlos shook his head, turning to walk away. "Just remember, when the opportunity comes, you need to stand out. Don't blow it." Silence settled around Davi like a heavy cloak, making the air feel thick. He looked to the boy, who still held the ball, uncertainty flaring in his eyes. "Hey, look." Davi took a step closer, kneeling to meet his gaze. "You just keep practicing. I'm here for you, I promise." But inside, he was shaken. Could he really balance his own aspirations with the duty to inspire those around him? The warmth of encouragement he felt moments before now felt like a distant echo, overshadowed by doubt creeping back. As the sun began its retreat, shadows stretched across the field. "Davi, what happened with Carlos?" Sarah approached, concern etched on her face. "It's complicated," he murmured, his heart uneasy. "Everyone wants me to succeed, but what if I lose sight of what matters?" He gestured to the boy, still practicing, oblivious to the tension surrounding them. Sarah placed a hand on his shoulder. "You hold the power to shape that future, Davi. You can inspire and still chase your dreams. It's not one or the other. Her words settled in him, a flicker of hope surfacing amidst his turmoil, but just as quickly, a new thought emerged. What if the truth was even more complicated? What if pursuing his dream meant not only leaving, but facing his own fears about failure? That night, as Davi returned home, the thrill of victory felt distant, shadowed by the uncertainties swirling in his mind. He lay awake in bed, pondering the tightrope he needed to walk. Could he truly embrace this dual journey of pursuing his ambitions while nurturing the hope of others? Would it require sacrifices he wasn't ready to make? The questions kept him from sleep, echoing in the darkness. As dawn crept in, illuminating his room with a soft glow, Davi knew he had to decide soon. But what path would he choose when the moment came? His heart raced with the thought perhaps it was time to confront not only his dreams but the reality of who he wanted to become. Would he have the courage to step into both his dreams and his community's expectations? The weight of that decision loomed ever closer. Davi woke up with the sun gently peeking through his window. The golden light seemed to carry the weight of his restless thoughts, making it impossible to forget the conversation with Carlos. He sat up, rubbing his face, trying to shake off the remnants of doubt that clung to him like shadowy whispers. Today would be different. He felt it in his bones. As he walked to the field, his heartbeat quickened, each step echoing his resolve to make a decision. The boy would be waiting, full of hope and eagerness, and Davi wanted to live up to that expectation. Upon arriving, he saw the boy kicking the ball against a wooden fence, his laughter ringing out. It brought a smile to Davi's face. Just as he opened his mouth to call out, he noticed a group of older kids nearby, snickering at the boy's efforts. "Look at him practice," one of them jeered. "He'll never make it. Why bother?" Davi felt a surge of anger rise within him. It was more than just a taunt, it was a cruel reminder of how dreams could be threatened by harsh words. He marched over, determined to protect the boy's spirit. "Hey!" Davi shouted, drawing their attention. "What are you doing? If he enjoys it, that's all that matters. You shouldn't steal his joy." The older kids glanced at each other, surprised by Davi's boldness. "And who are you to tell us what to do?" One shot back, crossing his arms. "I'm someone who believes in everyone's right to dream," Davi replied firmly, his heart pounding. "You should try it sometime, rather than tearing others down." In that moment, he felt powerful like a guardian willing to stand up against the wind. The older kids exchanged awkward looks, backing away slowly, muttering insults under their breath. Davi turned back to the boy, who stood wide-eyed. "You okay?" Davi asked, kneeling in front of him. "Yeah, I think so," the boy replied, though the shadows of doubt lingered in his eyes. "Good. Those words don't define who you are or what you can achieve," Davi said, feeling the urgency to instill confidence in him. "Let us fire up that spirit. Show me what you've got." As they practiced together, Davi felt a warmth enveloping him. Each successful shot the boy made echoed with encouragement, dispelling the darkness that had clouded Davi's mind. He was reminded of his own love for the sport, a love that was now intertwined with his desire to nurture the next generation. But even as their laughter echoed across the field, Carlos's words rang in his ears. How would he reconcile that fierce joy with the weight of expectations? Davi's inner turmoil flickered between light and shadow. Did he truly have the right to occupy this dual space? Could he shape his future while grounding himself in the hope he offered others? By the time the sun began to dip in the sky, painting a masterpiece of colors, Davi felt renewed but uncertain. He knew he needed to address his own ambitions, but he also found solace in knowing he was building something meaningful here, a bridge between dreams and reality. As they finished the final round, the boy grinned up at him, eyes sparkling. "Do you think I can really get better?" "Absolutely," Davi replied, feeling genuine warmth spread through him. "And one day, you'll inspire someone just like I'm trying to do with you." But just then, an unexpected figure appeared at the edge of the field. It was Carlos again, his expression unreadable. Davi's heart dropped, the weight of his cousin's presence like a thundercloud gathering in the horizon. What would Carlos say now? Would he destroy this moment too? Would he crush the newfound hope? Davi steeled himself, ready to face whatever was coming. The time for choices was rapidly approaching. Carlos stepped forward, his stance rigid, a mixture of challenge and curiosity illuminating his features. The golden hues of sunset surrounded him, but Davi felt shadows creeping in, tightening around his sense of hope. The boy beside him sensed the shift, glancing nervously at the older figure, uncertainties etched on his face. "Davi," Carlos began, his tone cutting through the tension like a knife. "I saw you out here. You think you're some kind of coach now?" Davi resisted the urge to flinch. "I'm just helping him," he replied, keeping his voice steady. "He deserves to practice without being mocked." Carlos shook his head. "You're wasting your time. Kids like him don't make it in football. You know that. Why are you getting involved?" In those words, Davi felt the weight of familiarity moments from their childhood where Carlos's skepticism overshadowed brightness. He glanced at the boy, whose gaze was now fixed on the ground, trust slipping away like sand through fingers. "Because it matters," Davi said, the fire in his voice igniting anew. "It matters to him, and it should matter to everyone. Hope is universal, Carlos. You should know that." The group of older kids lingering nearby fell silent, observing the clash between their twisted sense of reality and Davi's unwavering belief. It felt like a showdown, the air electric. Davi wanted to turn it around, to show Carlos that belief can shine through doubt. "Come on, just give him a chance," he urged, a mix of desperation and determination in his plea. "Everyone deserves encouragement." Carlos's eyes narrowed, and for an instant, Davi wondered if he would see a glimmer of understanding. Instead, he saw something more complex, a flicker of conflict that made Davi hesitate. What if Carlos didn't believe he could change? What weighty fear lay hidden beneath that tough exterior? "Davi, you can't protect everyone," Carlos replied, his voice harder now. "The world isn't kind, and you need to wake up to that truth." A cold wave of silence wrapped around them. The joy that had filled the field moments earlier now felt fragile, balanced on the precipice of despair. Davi's heart raced as he searched Carlos's face. Amid the fear of harsh realities, could there still be a way back to light? And then, remarkably, the boy stepped forward. "I want to play. I want to try. I can be better," he exclaimed, his voice small but fierce, filled with raw ambition. Carlos looked at him with surprise, as if this boy dared to challenge the very fears that ruled his own heart. Davi's chest swelled with pride. "See?" he said, his voice softer. "Everyone has a right to chase their dreams. Who are we to take that away?" The clash in front of him simmered, and in that moment, a sadness crossed Carlos's face, a nuance that suggested unresolved pain. "Fine, do what you want," he muttered, though his retreating stance felt less like defeat and more like confusion. As Carlos walked away, trailing shadows with him, the boy turned back to Davi, hope rekindled in his eyes. "Do you think he'll ever come around?" "I hope so," Davi replied, feeling a flicker of uncertainty alongside the spark of desire to protect that child. "But no matter what, we keep moving forward. Together." As they resumed practice, the sun dipped lower, and for a fleeting moment, Davi felt buoyed by the boy's tenacity. But deep inside, he wondered if he had really done enough today. Was he truly capable of bridging dreams, or was he merely an echo of what Carlos feared? The horizon began to darken as night approached, casting long shadows, and Davi wondered, was he ready to face his own truths, or would they keep haunting him? A decision loomed like a storm, and he knew he had to confront it sooner than later. As the last glimmers of sunlight faded into twilight, Davi felt an unsettling weight settle in the pit of his stomach. The sounds of laughter and the rhythmic thud of the ball against the ground accompanied their practice, but the joy felt tenuous now, fragile like a wing of a butterfly waiting to take flight. Davi. The boy's voice broke into his thoughts, a sharp contrast to the darkness creeping closer. Watch me. He kicked the ball with determination, sending it soaring towards the goal. A spark ignited in Davi's chest, but the flicker of hope was intertwined with the lingering shadows of doubt. That was amazing. Davi encouraged, clapping his hands. You've got real skill. He couldn't help but feel proud. Every small success of the boy felt like a victory against the doubts and fears that loomed over them. Yet, a part of him worried. Was this enough? Would the boy's fire stay lit in a world so harsh? Carlos's words echoed in his mind, and Davi found himself wrestling between supporting the boy's dreams and protecting him from inevitable heartaches. As practice continued, more kids gathered, drawn by the energy of confidence and camaraderie. Davi looked around, noticing how the boy seemed to blossom under their watchful eyes. With every cheer and every shout, his determination appeared to grow, rising like an unstoppable tide, but then, laughter erupted from a small group lingering at the edge of the field. Davi's heart sank as he recognized the familiar faces, their smirks a reminder of the harsh reality that awaited any misstep. They started mocking the boy's failed attempts, their words cutting deeper than any blade. Look at that kid. What does he think he is doing? One sneered, and Davi felt the boy's shoulders droop, his happiness dissipating like mist in the morning sun. No. We can't let this break us. Davi shouted, pain flooding his chest. He stepped in front of the boy, trying to shield him. They don't understand what it means to fight for something. They don't know who you are or what you're capable of. Davi's voice rang with urgency, but he could see the flicker of doubt in the boy's eyes. The energy was shifting. He knew this was a moment where they could stand their ground or crumble under the weight of negativity. What if I'm not good enough? The boy whispered, his voice shaky. No. You are already good enough by just trying. Davi insisted, crouching down to meet his gaze. Let their laughter strengthen your resolve. Show them they're wrong. You have every right to play, to dream. As Davi spoke, the boy's expression began to harden, a glimmer of determination creeping back. They're not worth your time, Davi continued passionately. Remember, this is about you. It's about what you want and how hard you're willing to fight for it. Each time you step on this field, you take that step for yourself. The laughter quieted, caught off guard by Davi's conviction, and for a moment, the boy stood a little taller. This was more than practice, it was a lesson about belief, about resilience. Okay, Davi. I'll keep going. The boy exclaimed, the spark igniting once more. In that moment, Davi felt a rush of hope, but lingering fear settled heavily again. This victory was fleeting, and tomorrow was uncertain. He glanced towards the horizon, the stars beginning to emerge one by one, shining faintly against the darkness. Even if they had faced one fight today, so many more awaited. He had to confront his own truths, his fears, his dreams, and the reality he ran from, but unexpectedly, he was pulled back by a voice from behind. It was Carlos, standing there with his arms crossed, expression unreadable. The weight of unspoken words hung in the air, a bridge waiting to be crossed. Ready to talk? Carlos asked, breaking the silence. Davi inhaled deeply. The confrontation he had avoided was now unavoidable. Would Carlos finally see? Would he ever believe? As questions swirled in his mind, Davi knew one truth: it was time to face the storm head-on. Davi stood frozen for a moment, the night air thick with tension. Carlos's challenge hung in the balance, a weight that seemed to pull at him from all sides. He could feel the reverberations of laughter still echoing from the sideline, a sharp reminder of how quickly triumph could turn to doubt. Let us talk, Davi finally replied, his voice steadier than he felt. He stepped away from the boy, urging him to keep practicing, keeping the embers of determination alive. He knew that words with Carlos wouldn't just be about him, they would ripple outward, touching the boy's hopes and dreams. Davi motioned for Carlos to follow him to a quieter corner of the field, near the rusty goalposts half hidden in shadows. The atmosphere felt electric, charged with unspoken truths. Davi's heart raced, a mixture of fear and anticipation layered within him. "What is going on, Davi?" Carlos asked, his arms crossed tighter. "Why are you putting so much energy into this kid? You know how tough the world can be." Davi felt a surge of frustration. "Because I've seen what despair can do, Carlos. This kid is fighting against everything, against the torments and the doubts. I refuse to let his fire go out just because it's easier to give up." Carlos's brows furrowed, a flicker of something behind his eyes as he listened. "But you've got your own battles. Why put yourself in the line of fire for him?" "Because he matters," Davi exclaimed, his voice booming against the night. "Just like we all do. Every kick of that ball is a stand against the darkness trying to creep in. I'm not asking for a hero's parade, but I can't stand by and watch him fail to believe in himself. I can't do that." For a moment, silence enveloped them, a quiet that pushed against the noise of kids laughing in the distance. Davi could see the internal struggle within Carlos, the gears slowly turning. "That kid isn't the only one who needs saving," Carlos said softly, his arms relaxing, though still unsure. "What about you? You're passionate, but what about your own goals?" Davi swallowed hard, his throat tightening with unacknowledged dreams. I have dreams. But they feel so far away. Helping him feels easier. It's like I can pour my fears into him, keep him from making the mistakes I did." Carlos stepped forward, a mix of concern and understanding etched in his features. "You know, facing your own fears is just as important as helping others, right? You're hiding, Davi." With that, the raw honesty cut into Davi's heart. He felt bare, exposed in the warmth of Carlos's gaze. It was true, he had tucked his dreams away, hidden them beneath layers of self-doubt. "But I can't risk it," Davi murmured, staring into the fading light. "What if I fail? What if?" Carlos interrupted gently, "What if you fly?" Davi's breath caught. Those simple words reverberated like the rhythm of a drum echoing through his heart. What if instead of hiding, he learned to soar? The weight of Carlos's insight crushed the silence, wrapping around Davi like a warm blanket on a cold night. They were both standing on the edge of something profound, and for the first time, he felt the stirrings of hope blossom in his chest. "What do you want to do then?" Carlos prompted, leaning closer, his voice barely a whisper. "I want." Davi started, but then hesitated. Who would listen? What if he shared too much? But before he could finish, they were interrupted by a burst of laughter from the group, a reminder of the world outside their brief intimacy. The boy looked over, his determination swinging like a pendulum. Davi glanced back at Carlos, their eyes locking in understanding. "I want to believe I can do this, that my dreams matter. Not just for the kid, but for me too." Carlos nodded, his expression conveying something deeper, something tangible: support. As they remained in silence, preparing to share in each other's truth, Davi felt a sudden surge of determination. This was just the beginning. Inside him, the fire ignited again, rekindled by honesty, by a friend who dared to push him, but uncertainty lingered like the night's shadows. Would he really pursue his own dreams? The laughter echoed again from the field. Davi turned back toward the practice, heart racing, every beat a question. Would he step into his own light, or would he remain hidden in the dark? And just then, the boy kicked the ball, aimed straight for the goal, and everything felt like it hung in the air, suspended in hope. What lay ahead would demand more than courage. Would he dare to unlock the dreams still waiting inside him? In the days that followed, Davi felt an incredible transformation brewing within him. The winds from the tournament flickered brightly, warming the hearts of those in Morro do Cantagallo. For Davi, it wasn't just the scoreline that lifted spirits, it was the solidarity he fostered in his community. The practice sessions became sacred gatherings where laughter echoed like music, filling the cracks often hidden by life's struggles. Davi smiled as he strolled towards the field, where the boy, now his mini protégé, dribbled with growing confidence. Each kick felt like an affirmation of something greater, something etched in the fabric of their lives. It wasn't just a game anymore, it represented their fight against darkness. "You've got this," Davi encouraged as the boy took his shot. The ball soared high, hitting the top of the net with a satisfying thud. Davi couldn't help but jump in delight. As the evening sun dipped into the horizon, painting the sky with hues of gold, Davi paused to reflect. The conversations with Carlos had struck deep. They had sparked a recognition and awakening. Davi understood now that pursuing his ambitions wouldn't mean leaving his community behind. Instead, he could weave their dreams together, creating something much more powerful. "Hey, Davi," Sarah called, a radiant smile lighting up her face. "We're planning another community match next weekend. You think we could get everyone together again?" "Definitely," Davi said, determination lacing his voice. "Let us make it even bigger." Excitement erupted around him, voices blending together as plans unfolded. He felt buoyed by the joy of camaraderie swirling amidst the evening air. It was electric. Yet a part of him still quivered with apprehension, a war of conflicting emotions swirling within. Would he be brave enough to go to the academy? That night, lying in bed, he remembered a lesson learned from the boy he mentored: keep pushing. Davi smiled, the thought alone lighting a spark of courage. The journey wouldn't be one of easy choices, it would demand his heart, a mix of vulnerability and strength. He would need to step into the unknown. The day of the community match arrived, and Davi felt electric. The excitement in the air was thick as the crowd swelled on the sidelines, all eyes glistening with hope. As they played, every pass and goal was applauded, laughter bursting like fireworks through the dense atmosphere. Davi maneuvered with purpose, showcasing his own growth, a blend of skill and heart, but in the middle of the match, his gaze drifted to Carlos, who stood at the edge, arms crossed yet curious. Their eyes met. An unspoken understanding passed between them, a pledge wrapped in brotherhood. With a final goal scored, cheers erupted, enveloping Davi in a wave of energy. Reports emerged afterward that scouts would be at the next festival, opportunity connecting like threads in a tapestry. It dawned on him, here was the path he could follow, one that didn't compromise who he was nor what he believed. The evening of the festival shimmered with celebration. Colorful decorations adorned the field, and the scent of street food wafted through the crowd, igniting nostalgia and warmth. Davi stood taller, nerves bubbling yet excited, ready to face what lay ahead. As the scout approached, Davi felt his heartbeat quicken, but the memories ignited a strength he hadn't realized had grown within him. "You're not just a player from the slums," he reminded himself silently. "You're a beacon of dreams. Davi. It's your time." Sarah beamed, giving him an encouraging nudge. As he stepped forward to meet the scout, Davi felt a rush of confidence. The words of his friends echoed in his ears. They believed in him. But most importantly, he was ready to believe in himself. The moment was here, a threshold crossed between his passion for soccer and the unwavering bond of his community. "I'm here to make my own dreams, and I want to uplift my people along the way," he proclaimed. Finally, he understood whether he succeeded alone or not, he never stood alone. And in that instant, Davi embraced the pivotal moment of his life, choosing a path that intertwined both ambition and love for his home. A journey that would write a story not just for himself, but for everyone around him. You need to subscribe now if you don't want to miss more inspiring moments like this. This is the moment to show your support by hitting that like button. Remember to comment below your feelings about this ending. I want to hear your thoughts. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Let us keep spreading hope together.